These days, my friends usually introduce me as that gay guy that got famous for eating carbs in public. After graduating from the Ohio State University, I volunteered with the Human Rights Campaign organization. It's the largest lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender civil rights organization in this country. I did that for about 4 years, and that experience helped prepare me for the journey I'd like to take you on today. On December 29, 2012, my friend Ethan and I were leaving a bar in the short north, and we decided to get in line at the Mikey's Late Night Sliced Pizza truck. Yeah, Mikey's. It was a bitter cold night, and we were standing close together, holding hands, laughing and joking about all the fun we'd had that night. Suddenly, the guy in front of us turns around and tells us to cut our gay shit out. I didn't expect what happened next, but almost every single person in that line spoke up to defend us and tell this guy it wasn't okay for him to talk to us like that. My friend John happened to be standing in line in front of us, and between he and I, we let him know that this was our community too, and we were not going to back down. A straight couple behind us chimed in and told him that it wasn't cool for him to talk to us like that and that he should stop. A woman off to the side, who had already gotten her pizza, let him know that people didn't talk like that anymore and that he should cut it out. Other people spoke up as well. The best part, though, was as he continued to grow more vocal and irate, the guys inside the pizza truck leaned out the window and told him that if he didn't stop spewing his hate, they would not serve him, and that their business did not tolerate that type of behavior. He kept it up, and he got kicked out of line and went home without any pizza. I, on the other hand, got my pizza, and as I was walking away, all I could think about was, that's it. Every single person in that line, including the guys inside the pizza truck representing their business, was doing their part to make hate a thing of the past. I went home, and the next morning, I typed up the story on Facebook and posted it. Immediately, people started liking it. Within 24 hours, it had 4,834 likes. It had been shared 500 times, and there were about 255 comments. I decided then I was going to email Mikey, the owner of Mikey's Late Night Slice, to thank him and the guy that night, Levi, for taking a stand with us. He wrote an awesome response that he posted on his Facebook page and shared my original post. Someone posted that on Reddit, and within 24 hours, it had over 280,000 views. The next day, I received an email from the Huffington Post editor inviting me to submit my story. I wrote it the next morning, submitted it, and it went live early that afternoon. About an hour after it went live, I started receiving phone calls from the local news media. You would have thought I'd won the lottery with all the attention I was receiving. I did 3 interviews that afternoon and evening, and I went home and I had an email from a Huffington Post live producer who told me that my story was the #1 trending story on the Huffington Post that evening. And they wanted me and Ethan to do an interview the next day. The next morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. and I had an interview request from a local morning show inviting me to come in and speak about the incident. And there I was at 7:30 a.m. on Good Day Columbus sharing my story with thousands of people. After the Huffington Post live interview aired, I got several other notifications from national news and media outlets who picked up the story, as well as blogs. I was even featured on Gawker, which is something I never thought would happen in my lifetime. And then really the unthinkable happened. I was Takai'd. George Takei had shared my story, and within 2 hours, it had over 10,000 likes. Now I'm still waiting for Anderson Cooper to call, so. As this whole thing was happening, I was receiving countless emails from people from all over the country. And they were sharing with me how moved they were by the story and how grateful they were that I had posted it. A woman in particular wrote to me and shared that she had shared the story with her coworker, who started crying after she read it and confessed that she had not always been very nice to gay people and now understood how hurtful her actions were. This entire time I was thinking about how this story had connected with so many different people from all walks of life. And I wasn't able to put my pulse on why that was the case. A couple weeks later, I was a part of a panel discussion where someone who was trained in bystander intervention was speaking about this incident. And she actually said, this is an anomaly. This does not typically happen according to the research that they've done. And I ask you guys, how many times have each of us been in a similar situation where we've not spoken up and we've not come to someone's aid when they've been harassed or been victimized? And how can we begin to change the conversation? And how can we make that anomaly the norm as we move forward? We live in a powerful age where social media and technology allow us the opportunity to create and share our story with millions of people when we are called upon. The critical part, though, is that we have to be ready and willing to answer that call when it comes. There's no doubt that my story of bystander intervention has affected the lives of hundreds of thousands. I'd like to remind you all that each of us has the power to stand up and speak out and make our voices heard, and that we have the power to inspire change in our communities. That community can be your campus, your neighborhood, your city, your state, and even this entire country. We only have to look at what happened in Egypt and Libya and the Arab uprisings of 2011 to understand how revolutions will take place in our lifetime. A couple of weeks ago, over 2.7 million Facebook users changed their profile pictures in one day to the HRC red symbol in an act of solidarity for the Supreme Court hearings that will decide the fate of rights for same-sex couples in this country. And the conversation on gay civil rights, we are winning, and we will win in our lifetime. In my story, I wrote, the arc of the moral universe does bend towards justice, and we are not alone in this struggle. Don't forget to take a stand, speak out. The world is waiting to hear your story. Thank you very much.